Hi, for this assignment, we're going to draw an ugly flower. I'm calling it an ugly flower because we aren't going to worry too much about what it looks like in the end. The purpose of the assignment is so that you get comfortable with certain kinds of functions of the drawing tools. Starting out, click up here and Reset All Tools, and in Styles, Reset. We need to zoom in a little bit on the stage. You can click on your zoom tool or use your mouse wheel and zoom in a little bit, and we need to be kind of near the top, so I'm going to pan there. We're going to be drawing a flower in about this area here. So you've already had some practice with the Add Point tool and the Draw Shape tool. Next, we're going to try the Freehand tool. So click on this icon right here. There are a whole mess of settings for the Freehand tool, and we're going to leave them at the default setting right now. There are also more in this drop down. Right, we'll keep everything at the default. And what we're going to do is click and drag and try and draw the most basic flower. You may not be very good with the mouse, but don't worry about it. This is our ugly flower. Now I need to meet up with where I started at, and you'll see that that it wants to attach with the little magnet that we have become familiar with in the Add Point tool. So once I let go, when I see that glowing dot, it's going to fill. All right, see, it filled and it put the stroke line. If for some reason you need to do a redo on that, you can click on the Select Points tool and click and drag across, selecting everything, and hit the Delete key on your keyboard. Okay, so I've got to go back to the Freehand tool, and now I need to do this again, which I'll probably be even worse now. Yeah, that's pretty bad. Okay, I need to move this down. If you want to, you can shape it up a little bit. We need to have space in here. We're going to draw a smaller one right there. So you can do a little shaping up by grabbing points. Now clicking on the Freehand tool again, and I need to choose a different fill color. And I'll draw a smaller object right here in the middle. So you need to have what you see on my screen, the small object in front of the larger object. In the tools, click on the select shape icon, click on the small object. Up here in the settings, uncheck stroke, uncheck fill. Now click on the large object, uncheck stroke, uncheck fill. It looks like they're gone, but they're not. Underneath draw, click on transform points. So what you're seeing is the outline of the two objects. Go up to edit, choose select all, and then underneath the word fill, click on create shape. Now pick a color, and then up here, click on the create shape button. And then you can click once in a blank area here to deselect that. So you ended up with a shape that actually is hollow in the middle. Okay, so we took two shapes and we converted them to one. Now I've zoomed out, and next we're going to attach one object to another object. In the Layers palette, click on the new layer icon and choose Vector. Now drag layer 2 below layer 1. Click the Reset button in Styles and reset all tools. Click on the Draw Shape icon, choose the rectangle up here. Pick a green or a brown over here in your swatches and draw a long, skinny, pretty skinny stem for the flower. Remember, you had to do that on layer 2 Layer 1 is the flower. That's why it's really good to actually name layers all the time. We need to zoom in a little bit towards the middle of the stem, about right here. We need to see what we're doing right here. Now follow along with me. Choose the Add Point tool. Up here in the settings, check the Sharp Corners box. And then down here, we're going to do connect the dots, click and drag. Remember how that works? And I'm kind of drawing a leaf shape, but again, ugly flower and all. Do something like that. We're going to need 2 points down here that we're going to attach to that stem. They're not attached yet. Click on the Transform Points tool. I think I'm going to zoom in more. So clicking on this point, drag it on top of that line, and then push Enter on my keyboard. And then I'm going to grab this one, drag it over top of the line for the stem, and push Enter on my keyboard. Now, attached, but not filled. If you need to confirm or deny that they got attached, just click on the point and see whether or not it sticks. Yeah. So what to do, what to do? We need to get this filled. So here's what we do. Go over here and click on Select Points. Up here, put a check mark next to Lasso Mode. Basically, we'll be clicking and dragging and tracing around all the parts that we want to be this leaf. All right, so you can watch what I'm doing. I want to make sure I close it off here. All right, now you see how all the little points, all the little dots are glowing in red. Now we'll go over to the tools. Underneath the word Fill, click on Create Shape. We're going to click on Fill, choose a green, click on the Create Shape button. Now let's look at the Line Width tool. I'm going to click on Layer 1, which is the flower, and zoom in on the flower. I need to make sure I have no points selected. Edit, select None. Over here underneath the word Fill, click on Line Width. Magnet mode is on by default, and it's kind of disorienting. You'll see this huge orange pinkish silhouette thing. If you click on this check mark, you'll see that that will go away, and magnet mode does serve a good purpose, okay? We can leave it off for now just so that it's not so distracting. Click on a point anywhere around the outside of the flower and drag, and you'll see what the line width does. So, you know, it can help to kind of embellish or decorate whatever your object is. You know, sometimes it looks better to have a thinner line in certain areas and a heavier line in other areas. Okay, so that's what that does. Magnet mode just makes it so that it'll affect more points near the one that you're pulling on, and it is useful, so you can experiment with that too. And one more thing before you hand this in, we're going to look at the brush tool. So go over here to the layers, click on New Layer, and choose Vector. And make sure that this third layer is the one on the top of the stack because we need to draw in front of this flower. Click on Reset in the Style menu and reset all tools up here. Now go over here and choose the Freehand tool again. The Freehand tool controls the stroke color. Let's go over here to the Style menu, click on the stroke swatch, I'm going to change it to a color that might go with my pink and click OK. Change the line width to 8 and hit enter. And this is just so you can see the difference and draw things here in the petals. It doesn't matter so much how yours looks or what you draw. Do something like this. And now we're going to select these, which they will come together as a group. Underneath Fill, click on Select Shape. Click one of them and you'll see that they all become selected. All right, because that was using the Freehand tool without switching away from it. And so even though we stopped and picked back up and drew, it still creates them as though they are one object. And that will be good to know down the road. Now over here where it says No Brush, click in that box. So here's some basic brushes, okay? And if I click on one right now, you'll see that these look different. You can change jitter angle, angle drift, brush spacing. You can click in here and move your mouse wheel. Okay, so you can see the preview here. You can also see it happening here. All right, so again, that can provide you with some embellishments for whatever it is you're drawing. I'll click OK. I'll click once here in a blank area to see if I can get a better sense of how that's looking. All right, if I wanted to reselect them, change how big that is. You see I just changed the stroke width. And remember, if you're doing something like this and you want to go on to drawing another object unrelated to this, don't forget to click your reset or else you'll start drawing with this brush style. All right. So if you were going to go to the next layer, for example, choose a vector and then you're on layer 4, you see those settings are still there. So if I started drawing something else, then there's that brush stroke shape. So remember, every time you do create the next layer, look up here and click on the reset. So you do need to turn in this project file in the classroom, right? Save it and you'll see in the assignment area you're just going to have a place where you can upload it to there. If you did this square along with me, don't leave that in there. Delete that layer 4. Just leave your ugly flower in the file that you send me, okay? And if you have any questions, just email me.